Here we are in the chapel. Father Francis Mary is going to prepare the chapel for us. The center portion, which is very unusual, on top, of course, this is the Franciscan Friars of the Most Blessed Sacrament. He just closed the drapes on what would be the adoration area for the monstrance during the adoration and prayer to Christ. Below the steps, is a very unusual setting, is the altar, the main altar. This was a cloistered, so it's designed so the public would sit on this side and the sisters in years past would sit beyond that wall where there would be a grill. But now we have a very beautiful chapel, and this is one of 5 chapels, Father has told us. Okay, Father, let's continue here in the chapel. Just point out whatever you want to focus on.
So one of the things that would be worthy of noting about this chapel is when the sisters, maybe you said this already, but when the sisters were here, this was the chapel open to the public, right? So where the drapes are upstairs is where the Blessed Sacrament would have been exposed. Mm-hmm. Now, what's somewhat unique, perhaps many people would know this, but there's another set of doors so the Eucharist can be seen on both sides of the wall. And the sisters would have been on the other side of the wall, and their life included 24-hour adoration of the Blessed Sacrament. So there would have been a sister in prayer in the chapel on the other side of the wall for decades, 24/7. And so many people, when they come here, have just a real sense of the prayerfulness of the place. And part of that is very clearly, not simply because of the presence of our Lord in the Eucharist, although certainly that, but also the presence of women who were here praying so faithfully for so many years. And we're just very grateful to live in a place like that. Yeah.
Do you have public mass now?
We have public masses at times. We're not a parish, and we don't run parishes.
Right.
So there's a parish right down the street.
Okay.
That used to be Dominican also.
Okay.
Right. So it was sort of the brothers to the sisters here.
Right.
But at this point, we do at times have masses open to the public, but it would be more occasional things, a special celebration or something like that, not so much on a daily basis or even a weekly basis.
Right. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And how many does this chapel seat?
About 120.
Beautiful. And through those doors
is the chapel where the sisters would have prayed, which I can certainly show you.
Sure, let's walk up there,
okay.
If you don't mind. And was it a coincidence that you are called the Monastery of the Most Blessed Sacrament, or was it that name before you came here?
It wasn't that name previously, but certainly it was the fact that this was a place of Eucharistic devotion for so long, and it strongly influenced us, I think, in the decision. Yeah. Although I wasn't a part of that decision, so I'm not positive.
Okay. Beautiful. Okay, we're going into the sanctuary, and Father is going to open the doors, and this would have been the chapel for the Benedictine sisters on this side, and they would have sat in these what we call choir seating, and this serves to be another full chapel, very well appointed, very well preserved, beautiful windows, and of course this would be a location for another celebration of Mass. Beautiful. And is this chapel used?
Only rarely. We have, during Lent, we have night vigils, so we get up at 2:30 in the morning and pray the office by candlelight. Oh. All of the candles around the wall illuminate the whole thing. And at times we would use it, but generally only for those occasions. At times, if we have too many people in the one chapel, we'll actually open these doors and we're able to have people sit on both sides and facilitate a larger crowd. For instance, we have a men's day in October, maybe 150, 200 men, and so we just need the space, and so at times we will utilize it that way too.
Great. And that's how Bob Shanahan put us in touch with each other. He attended one of those men's days.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Do you have them only once a year?
That's right. Here at the Friary, we just have it once a year.
And it's like a retreat day?
Yeah, it depends. We've had different speakers come in. But yeah, there's a series of talks, adoration, music, mass, and a time for fraternity for the men. You know, just a time for the guys to get together too.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, we're going to continue the tour outside the chapel. Okay, we're in the room that is now used as the dining room for guests.
For our soup kitchen, exactly right. Yep. And so we have overflow, so most of the people are able to sit in here, but we also have seating in other areas too. But so this is where we have the soup kitchen, but originally this is where the cloistered nuns would have had visitors. And so the visitors would have been on this side of the room. And then where the arches are now, there would have been iron grates, and so the nuns would have been on that side, and they could have seen each other through the grates, but they couldn't. There was no physical contact, and no visitors would have ever passed this wall.
Right. That's it?
Yeah.
Cloister.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to another room. So this is the cloister.
Right, so the interior cloister, the courtyard where, again, only the Dominican nuns would have been able to be present. And as the camera pans around, you'll see that there's pillars, and so there's 7 pillars on each side, and then in the center of the courtyard is a statue of Our Lady, but underneath her is a well. And so this was really, in some ways, just the sort of the central part of the monastery of the sisters. And we still very much appreciate it, even though we can go out, unlike the sisters. Right. It really provides, in the midst of inner city Newark, as you can tell, probably not able to tell with a microphone, but it's almost impossible to even hear traffic. I mean, you hear the airplanes fly over, but it gives you a real sense of just being out and a certain sense of prayerfulness and peace. And so it's really a tremendous gift, especially in the midst of the busy city, to have a place like this.
You were mentioning before that the architects were from Europe?
They were French, and so the sisters came from France. I don't know exactly where, but then the engineers also, who did it. I mean, the workmanship on the places, it just couldn't even be built today.
And what year was that?
The cornerstone is 1880.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. And this is such a beautiful, quiet area, a little oasis.
Yeah, it is. It's very much, when people come in, especially during the summer when we have more flowers and things, one religious sister who came, she actually said she had just a sense of like being back in the garden, you know, like at the beginning of creation, just because of the beauty of the place, especially in the midst of what otherwise is not usually very beautiful.
A city. A city. Although, are the bells original?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah, the bells are original. They work. So we ring them for the Angelus, much to the chagrin of our neighbors, at 6 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m.
and you have no complaints?
Well, the cops haven't showed up yet, so,
that's great.
So I think we're doing okay.
Okay, this is a beautiful view of the cloister, and we're going to continue our tour inside this beautiful monastery.
Let me show you.